You'd think intelligence would be an advantage, that wisdom, insight, and emotional depth would make you magnetic, that being well-read, articulate, and deeply aware would make you stand out. But if you're a smart man, truly smart, not just academically, but existentially, you've probably noticed something strange. The more you see, the more alone you become, especially with women. You speak truth, but they call it intense. You show depth, but they say it's too much. You hold silence, but they say, why are you so distant? You're not cold, you're not bitter, you're awake, and that's exactly the problem. Because most of the world doesn't want awake men. It wants entertaining men, simple men, useful men, men who say the right thing at the right time, who flatter without friction, who dance the same social dances everyone else is dancing. But you're not dancing. You're watching, observing, dissecting, feeling, and women sense that. You're not reacting to the mask. They can feel that you see beneath it. You don't chase, you analyze, you listen, you wait, and that makes them nervous. Not because you're wrong, but because you're right. You see the game, you see the projection, you see the emotional immaturity behind the polished image, and you don't play along. That's why you struggle, because the feminine, especially in its wounded form, wants to feel adored, not understood. And you understand too much. You can't help it. You see the father wound, the manipulative patterns, the unresolved pain in her language. You hear what she doesn't say. You feel what she hides. And when you speak to that, even gently, she feels exposed. Not seen in the sacred sense, but unveiled. And unveiling is terrifying to someone not ready to evolve. So they push you away, or label you as boring or cold or emotionally unavailable. Because your silence doesn't feed their ego. Because your presence isn't designed to please. It's designed to pierce. You don't seduce, you reveal. And that for most women is too much. Too much truth, too much presence, too much clarity. You're not unpredictable enough to excite them, not chaotic enough to mirror their drama, not emotionally reactive enough to feel like a romance movie. You're stable, you're discerning, you think before you speak, you feel before you move. And that rhythm, the rhythm of a man who walks within a weight, confuses the modern feminine, which has been trained to chase highs, not harmony. So they say, there was no spark. They say, you're too calm, too intense, too serious. But what they really mean is, you made me see myself. And I wasn't ready. Because smart men, truly awake men, don't feed illusions. They shatter them. Gently, yes. Respectfully. But still, they shatter them. They ask real questions. They listen to what's under the story. They don't rush in to impress. They stand back to feel. They move slowly, intentionally from a place of self-knowledge. And to a woman who is still unconsciously performing, still testing, still playing out emotional roles, this is unbearable. She wants reaction. You give her reflection. She wants attention. You give her awareness. She wants to be pursued wildly. You offer your presence, not your desperation. And when she realizes she cannot control the dynamic, when she feels that she cannot pull you off center with charm, drama, or seduction, she labels you distant, cold, or not into her. But the truth is, you are more into her than most men she's met. You're into the truth of her, not her image, not her body, not her performance. Her truth. But to be loved for your truth, you must be ready for that love. And most women are not. Just as most men are not ready for the woman who sees them that deeply. So here you are, awake, aware, alone, not because you're broken, but because your vision is clear. And clear vision is a burden in a world addicted to shadows. But here's the secret no one tells you. Your loneliness is proof of your depth. You're not single because you lack value. You're single because you've outgrown the shallow dance. You've seen what lies beneath the surface, and you can't unsee it. You've tasted the emptiness of performance. You've touched the silence that lives beneath all the noise. And now, you require something real, something that most are not yet ready to give. You don't just want a woman. You want presence. You want wisdom. You want a feminine energy that doesn't just shine, but sees. And that kind of woman, she doesn't respond to games. She doesn't need to be chased. She doesn't need to be impressed. She waits for the man who can meet her at the soul. And she'll recognize you when she meets you. Not because you perform, but because you don't. Because your eyes are still. Your voice is grounded. Your words don't reach, they rest. You don't chase connection, you carry it. But until then, until she appears, you will be misunderstood by women who are used to being mirrored, not met, by those who confuse your restraint with indifference, by those who hear your silence and assume you have nothing to say, when in truth, your silence is full of listening, and this will frustrate you. You will wonder, do I need to lower myself to be seen? But you already know the answer. Because a man who lowers himself to be seen is no longer himself. And the moment you dim your light to fit in with the familiar is the moment you abandon the very thing that made you different. And your difference is not a curse. It is your calling. It is what prepares you for a love that does not drain, but builds. A love that does not thrill, but grounds. A woman who does not entertain your mind, but resonates with your soul. And when she comes, she will not fear your stillness. She will bow to it, because she too has walked through mirrors and illusions. She too has been called too much, too emotional, too aware. And when she sees you, she will not ask you to chase her. She will join you. And for the first time, the smart man will be met. Until then, you will be tested by loneliness, by temptation to conform, by women who want your attention but not your essence, by moments where it would be easier to pretend, easier to play dumb, to soften your edge, to nod along with what you do not believe in, just to feel held. But you weren't built for ease. You were built for meaning. And meaning demands solitude before it grants union. Because you are not here to collect lovers. You are here to transform. You are not here to be adored by many. You are here to be understood by one. And until that one appears, your wisdom will often feel like a burden. But when she arrives, she will not be confused by your silence. She will not shrink from your intensity. She will not ask you to dim your insight so she can feel comfortable. She will rise to meet you because she has met her own shadow. She has walked through fire. She has shed her masks. And now she no longer wants a man who flatters her. She wants a man who knows her. And you, the smart man, will know her, not because you studied her, but because you've lived what she's lived. You've tasted the same exile, felt the same ache, carried the same longing for truth. So when you touch her, it won't feel like possession. It will feel like return. Two souls who waited for the world to stop clapping, so they could finally hear each other breathe. And when you breathe together, it will not feel like magic. It will feel like home. Because home is not comfort. Home is where nothing has to be explained, and the smart man will finally understand. He was never alone. He was only early, and the world is finally catching up. And in that moment, the struggle ends. Not because the world changed, but because you stopped needing it to. You stopped apologizing for your depth. You stopped negotiating with your insight. You stopped performing intelligence like a trick and began living it like a path. And now she sees it. Not just the surface of your intellect, but the stillness beneath it, the gravity of a man who has waited, watched, endured, the silent fire of a man who has turned loneliness into lighthouse. She doesn't run from your intensity. She rests in it. She doesn't fear your vision. She trusts it. She doesn't need you to chase, because she walks with you. And now finally, the smart man is not too much. He is perfectly measured. Measured for the woman who had to become something rare to recognize him. Measured for the love that required years of becoming. Measured for the kind of union that isn't loud, but eternal. Because smart men don't struggle forever. They struggle until they stop needing to be understood by everyone. Until they stop hiding what makes them different. Until they stop looking for mirrors and start looking for matches. Because a match doesn't reflect your image, it lights your fire. And you, man of mind, man of soul, man of silence. You were never made for popularity. You were made for impact. And the right woman will not just admire that. She will ignite it. She will not be threatened by what you see. She will join the vision. She will not shrink from your insight. She will expand in it. And together, you will not build comfort. You will build kingdoms. So let the world misunderstand you. Let them say you're too serious, too quiet, too intense. Because the woman who matters won't flinch at those things. She'll recognize them. And when she does, the struggle will have been worth it. Because the smart man was never hard to love. He was just waiting for the woman who could meet him there.